I don't know if you heard now, but we got the Mike Zimmer press conference. Some of it right here. If you want to, we can go through it and tear this thing apart and see what.
Play it again. I'm ready to run through a wall for this guy.
Yeah, is he gonna? Yeah, did he tell us about how and why he got fired from Minnesota?
That's not his problem. That was the team's. That was the team's problem.
And a bad quarterback, Kendrick.
Even though he was basically the general manager and controller.
No. He was not the general manager.
He was the head coach. He was the COO of it, huh?
No. That was somebody else above him making stupid decisions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, let's hear what Mike Zimmer had to say a little bit here.
All right.
Start with David.
Okay. Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. You start by talking about what attracted you to Mike Zimmer and what you expect him to do with this defense from what's in place.
Well, I've always had such great respect for Mike. You know, we've competed against each other so many times over the years. I mean, even going back to New Orleans when Mike was coordinating here in Dallas, and obviously our time in the NFC North. So, really just going through the whole process, post, announcement of Dan getting the Washington job. We kind of had two buckets that we looked at as far as individuals that were tied to the existing defense, and then looking at former head coaches with something that, if you points to my history is a preference that I feel is very important. And then having a chance to sit down and talk to Mike, and and I'll let him talk about his time off and so forth. But I just think it's an incredible fit for us.
Is that the other point, especially now that you're a play caller as well, the comfort you have with Mike having been a head coach before?
Fellas, do you guys believe that Zimmer is a good fit for us?
You want to go, Kendrick, or should I go?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Mike McCarthy thinks so, since he probably have his job at the end of the season. You know that what he's brought in there for. Hey, listen, this guy's a Jerry guy. This guy knows the organization. He may know it more better than Mike McCarthy as far as the front office is. So, if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm a lame duck coach. I'm looking right to my right, and I'm seeing a guy that probably gonna have a job if I don't produce. So far I'm concerned, this is the new head coach of Dallas Cowboys in 2020.
It's funny you say that, but the fact of the matter is Mike McCarthy's last two defensive coordinators here, he always, since he's brought in former head coaches, the first one, terrible pick, but was Mike Nolan, the former head coach of the Niners. And then, of course, Dan Quinn comes in here the last 2-3 seasons, the former head coach of Atlanta, big-time defensive coordinator. So you're acting like, Mike Zimmer, he's just going to come take his job because he's a former head coach.
But this is different.
It could be that Mike Zimmer's just the best man for the job.
This is different, and it is.
Well, for sure.
This is not a normal guy. This is a guy who's been in the family before we even knew Mike McCarthy. This is a Cowboy. This is a Jerry guy.
But they're not.
That you're bringing back.
Right, but can I tell you? Can I tell you something? But Mike Zimmer had multiple opportunities to be, in position to be a Dallas Cowboys head coach. In fact, when they hired Wade Phillips, Zimmer, they didn't even, I don't think in my memory, they didn't even interview Zimmer back in 2006. Zimmer went on to go coach and become the defense coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. So they've had ample opportunity to go interview Mike Zimmer to be head coach if they loved him so much. Here's my point. The reason why I think the Zimmer thing is good for Mike McCarthy and everybody else is because Zimmer is, first of all, statistic-wise, if you go look at it, it's his defenses have stopped the Shanahan-style run offenses that's been attacking the league lately. It's his off the defenses that have done a really good, remarkable job. Another interesting stat that I love about Zimmer, go look at his defenses in Minnesota. They're near the bottom of the league in penalties. Have you noticed that's one of the biggest things that really pisses you off about the Dallas Cowboys defense? Unnecessary fucking penalties, left in, left, right, fucking false starts all the time. This is the perfect guy to come in.
So is he's going to be cleaning up penalties for the offensive side of the ball too?
If you go look back at it, there are some penalties, but last season the defense did way more than what the offense did. If you go back to it, the defense did a shit ton and done more that were like puzzling. A lot of puzzling defensive penalties that shouldn't even happen. They're very undisciplined on the defense side of the ball. And also, you kind of need somebody like Zimmer to get in the face and try to get this defense back.
I agree.
DQ, I love the guy who's a great defense coordinator, but he became by the end of it too much of a player's coach.
I agree. He gonna be a great head coach for the Dallas Cowboys after this. I agree.
I mean, he might.
What you are describing is a head coach, but he's not the head coach. You just said he's gonna make sure that the team at least on his side of all discipline. He's gonna make sure he's gonna get fire underneath the guys.
Here's the problem, though. He's
gonna get on the guys behind. You are talking about a head coach. Why are we not saying this about Mike McCarthy?
Listen, if McCarthy does get let go, I don't think Zimmer is going to be the next guy. He might be the intern guy, but I don't think they're going to hire him for the head coaching position.
Oh, you don't? So Jerry, no. So Jerry, no.
Because if McCarthy, here's how I look at it, and you will see our clues for the rest of this in the offseason. In my personal opinion, what I think is going to happen, this is the truly all-in year for Jerry, because I think Jerry is going to go look at Steven and goes, enough of your bullshit. We're going to go do it my way one final time before I die.
You Stephen Jones guy?
He'll never say that.
No, I'm not entirely a Stephen Jones guy. I like what some of his
you backstabbed him too, huh?
I backstab a lot of people.
Damn, yeah.
I mean, that's how you got to live in this life.
I would never walk in front of you. Always have
I mean, half the country thinks that's what they want in a president. So I mean, there we go.
Wow, political take.
Hey,
you had to go political.
Just saying, it's okay for half the country.
Listen,
but
as long as everybody votes, whatever happens.
All I'm saying is Mike Zimmer to me is the best coordinator right now. For what we need right now, he's the best man for the job.
How come Bill Belichick?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What will be the changes he will employ on the defense, not just schematic wise?
Well, hold on before you go there, Kendrick. Hold on, let's go. Let's listen to some more.
We got here from the new head coach in 2025. Go ahead.
I mean, I got two grandkids, twins that my daughter has. I'm excited to be around a little bit more. I've always loved Dallas. I've always loved the Cowboys. I've had a chance, a lot of times, Mike and I were on a committee together, so we were able to kind of talk away from football. Back in the day, we were on the John Madden committee. And then did I ever think I'd be back? I don't know. I always kind of hoped I would be. When my time was off, I'd had some phone calls of going places, and I wanted to be somewhere where I knew people and I trusted people. And so when this opportunity came up, I was excited because the relationship I had with Mike and even the conversations that we've had since I've been here, telling stories about when we played up in Green Bay or they played in Minnesota, and then with Jerry and Steven and those things. But I've had such great respect. I actually told him the same thing. When I was in NFC North, he was the one I respected the most. They were the best team. They were the most well coached. Their teams played the right way, and so we tried to emulate a lot of those things, and so that we could hopefully compete against them.
So they would never thought of retirement or anything like that after Minnesota.
No, not really. Sometimes it's forced retirement, but it's more about getting the right situation for you. Like I said before, I had other opportunities that I could have taken, but I wasn't going to go somewhere that I didn't feel comfortable with the organization and the people there.
You kind of sound like Rob. Marinari to me, man. You kind of sound like Rob.
So he says he has he said he had other opportunities that he could have taken instead of coming here. You guys?
Yeah, because it's the best opportunity because he's not gonna be next head coach.
Oh, that, and also everyone says they have opportunities, but he's not going to divulge them. So obviously he probably is making that up, or I don't know what his situation is, but you got to take everything they say with a grain of salt. First off, I think that's the same shirt he had when he was here in 2006 because they don't look like the new logo and everything. But like Kendrick said, I think he's going to bring some changes here. player-wise too, because here's the biggest problem for your Cowboys and the reason why they lost in that playoff game. And I told you from day one that you have said on my podcast, said at the ticket, I said everywhere. The reason why they started losing was the minute they lost LVE, because after LVE, they had nobody that was a good linebacker.
Overshawn broke his he tore his what's name and what's the name.
Those were your two big I'm talking about beefy linebackers that could stop the run. So two things, they're going to get beefier at the linebacker position. And second of all, they're going to beef up. They're going to get those big boys. They're going to get the EAs and put them in the defensive line, because Mozzie Smith, as much as I vouched for him at draft night, he's been a draft bust. And I don't know if he's going to turn it around, but you got to go get you some more big boys, because that's the only way you're going to stop the run in 2024.
Well, is that a step? Isn't that a step back if you just drafted this guy and all of a sudden he's a bust? You got to give up on him after year one.
It happens. But what are you going to do? You got to get better. And this is something they've been terrible at for some reason. They cannot draft interior linemen worth the shit. They do it well, like in the later rounds. Like Oso was a great pick in the third round, but but it's very rare, and they also get bad luck. Half the time they do pick really good guys, they end up, what was that, Charles Tapper? Remember him back a few years ago? He was supposed to be one hell of a defensive tackle, and now he has like some spinal injury that he can't play ever again. They always get these blue star specials that turn out that they can't play never again. Case in point, Sean Lee. Sean Lee was the epitome of,
I thought you loved Sean Lee, though.
I do, but he's a blue star special.
He had a red flag come out of college.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I call him a blue star special. You get him in the second round because nobody wants him. So,
EA, kind of point your camera down just a little bit.
Oh, you want to see me?
There you go.
Not that low.
There you go.
You want to see the rest of it?
No, I want to find out.
Please don't lose the little audience that we have right now.
I just ate. I don't want to throw up.
Listen, this lady, I will triple your lady count. I'm better than Tovash.
Oh! Shot at Vosh. He's not even here to defend himself.
I saw him outside the AAC on all red. I was like, all right, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
All right, let's check some more. Let's check some more of this out real quick.
Mike Todd Archer with ESPN. What do you think of the pieces that you have available to you here on this defense, and how can you make this defense better than what it's been?
Yeah, well, hopefully I can. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I mean, they've been pretty good. I know there's been some situations where things haven't happened, but that happens in coaching. It happens a lot. So we're going to look at the players, try and figure out the best way to use them, put the scheme together, and again, we want to take the good things that they've done and maybe add a few more other things that we've done good in the past and try to make this thing manageable where, we're disciplined and we're, well coached. We're play together as a team. We try to make sure everybody understands their role so that other people on the field can have success doing their job.
John
Machota with The Athletic.
What do you think about that comment? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, Kendrick.
Yeah, not trying to reinvent the wheel because we don't know how much of Boy's cap he's going to be spending. We still got that. We still got that flying the orbit. So this team doesn't like to spend money. Now Jared can say this a go for a year. Like I said before on my threads and on Twitter, and people got upset about it. I'll believe it when I see it. When this team goes on and starts spending money, because it ain't spent money in a long time. So we'll see. But I agree with EA. There's players listen, they're gonna have to get better players at certain positions. They're gonna have to do that. But yeah, you're right. You got to get a better scheme off her. But the fact of the matter is, you still has to prove it on the field. And I'm just going like this. I believe that team was mentally broken, EA.
Yeah.
That player.
Apparently so. Listening to Tank, I mean,
I think they were mentally broken. Not just it wasn't just physical. They were mentally broken. I think they were mentally beat before that game was even started. You can tell they were tense how they played. And I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if you give them a psychiatrist. If it's between the ears, can't no defensive coordinator give you a scheme or game plan unless you get totally different players, 53 different players. I just don't know how you deal with that.
Kendrick
Hey,
and
you
Walt,
know
have you
what?
noticed that?
Hold on. Yeah, I was gonna say I noticed something different with them going into the Lions game.
Yeah,
That's what I noticed.
I noticed it
weird was
the
going
week.
on there.
I noticed it 2 weeks before when they went into the Buffalo, and I think Buffalo is what really started the avalanche. Because if you look about it, if you notice that the last 2 years under Dan Quinn, if you notice that the defenses started really hot. They start off really hot, like, oh wow, okay, and then by mid-season they just start dropping down.
Right.
They start dropping down, and by the time they get to December, they are. I don't know if it's exhausted or what's going on. That Bills game, I think, exposed them, and they were shell shocked because they had what's his name? I don't even remember his name. He ran over 220 yards. Just
Yeah, the kid out of Georgia. Yeah.
yeah, and
Out of
he
Georgia.
just, I mean, everybody was shocked by it because we knew that the Bills were going to be able to run the football, but not that effectively. It's like every time he touched the ball, he went for 80 yards. And then you go against Miami, and Miami, they were trying to play a little bit better, but still it wasn't great. And then, of course, Walt mentioned it, the Detroit game. The Detroit game, they didn't even try to play defense. Look at what happened in that last thing where they made the touchdown on the last second drive. They were just like butter, just going through them like nothing. It was practice.
You know what, EA? You'll probably agree with me, but I think the start of this team's decline was the Seattle game.
Yes,
it's defensively. You can see it. I mean, it's like I'm gonna put it this way. It's like it was like after that Philly game where they had that great the last basically the best game, last best game. It's like you can hear it's like they made it game. We made it. We conquered. You heard Jerry say, I think this is the best game the head coach ever coached and the players ever played this season. And it's like everybody had an exhale of relief, but you had 5 more games after that. And then you come to the Seattle game, and if it hadn't been for things going, they probably lose that game because I thought they were gonna get blown out in that game the way it came. I mean, just Seattle play on the defense end, and then
that's why.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is why I'm very confused why people are still attacking Dak Prescott and the offensive scheme and everything like that. Yeah, they had a bad game in the playoffs for sure. There's no doubt about it. But there's no way you can blame the offense for anything this season, except maybe like the first 2 weeks of the season. For the rest of it, they balled out every fucking game. Every game they balled out. And the defense just went down every week. Every week they kept going down, down, down. And the time the last time they had a dominant performance was probably against the Carolina Panthers.
Hold on. Now you may not blame Dak Prescott, but CD Lamb's mom so does.
Right. But hey, did you not hear? CD came out when he was eating his little dinner. I don't know why he was eating dinner on a podcast, but as he was eating, he goes, "My mom doesn't know what she's talking about." She goes, "My mom."
And Dan Quinn's defense are built small up the middle. We have small DTs and small linebackers. Dak and our offense would have still won that game, that Green Bay playoff game, but our defense couldn't stop anyone. That's my point. That's been my whole point of it all.
The defense could not stop anybody. It was like
he said that the defense would have made stops and we could have won that game.
They might have. Dak still kind of brought them back in towards the end. My point being is the point being is this defense is
making them noises over there.
But Kendrick, it's true. No, but Kendrick, it's true. This defense was predicated on getting ahead. That means that the Cowboys offense had to score first. If they didn't score first, then they were doomed. That's a bad recipe for disaster. You should be able to win in all phases of the game any way you want it. It doesn't matter if they score first or it doesn't matter. You should be able to win the game. This defense, I think we were sold a bunch of beans. As the great legendary Jack and the Beanstalk was told, we were sold a bunch of beans, regular beans.
I think that was Darren Woodson I was talking to at the Super Bowl when he was saying, was Dan Quinn on my radar about 10 weeks ago? I was like, listen, Dan Quinn got on my radar in the Seattle Seahawks game when it took him forever to make the adjustment of, oh, maybe I should put Stephon Gilmore on DK Metcalf instead of Deron Bland. It took him all the way to halftime to figure that out.
Now it's always a coin flip to that. It's always the other side of the coin to that. Now DQ can say maybe he didn't have the right players to run his system. It's always a flip to that because I get it. I understand what EA's talking about, but remember, before DQ got here, this defense was historically, EA, historically bad. It was not just Cowboy historic. It was NFL historically bad.
Right.
I'm not gonna. I understand DQ. He's gonna get his flack and deservedly so. But let's not act like he was just a terrible core. Before he got here, this defense was historically bad, and he did get it to a point where it was.
But Kendrick, that's like saying, hold on. But that's just like Kendrick. Let's say I date the ugliest girl in the world, and if I dated just a girl that's just a little bit better, she's gonna look like Beyonce compared to the last one.
Well,
I mean, I'm just
EA. EA, if you like to date ugly girls, that's just you. I mean,
listen,
we
we don't do that. We don't do that. We
well, you made the point of me saying it.
But I think there's blame to go all around.
All the facially challenged women in the world.
That's what you say. That's a nice way of putting ugly. Okay.
Yeah. Facially challenged.
Yeah.
I think there's blame to go all around, and I think that here's what I've always said. Listen, I'm pissed. When the season was over, I was pissed just as much as everybody, and I was with everybody. Like, yeah, let's tear it down. But my thinking was, it makes no sense to tear it down right now. It doesn't. You still got Dak Prescott. You still got Mike McCarthy at least for one more year. Go for it one more time. See what happens. And if it doesn't happen, fucking tear it all up and get ready again. Because either way, it's most likely going to end in nothing. So might as well try it, and then we'll get a rebuild.
I ask you a question. I ask a question after we go for it.
Specifically, though, with Micah Parsons, what have you thought of him as a player, and does he kind of remind you of any other players you've worked with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a terrific player. You watch him on tape, and he makes some unbelievably athletic plays. At this point and stage right now, I'm trying to figure out, get the coaches in here, and then we can sit down. And I think one of the strengths that I've always had is to look at players and kind of have a vision for each player, and then try to figure out how we can use them in the best way. One of the things I would hate to do right now is to tell you how I'm thinking about playing him without talking to him and letting him think, okay, this is what we're thinking about doing with you, Micah. I don't think I should tell you guys first before I tell him, if that's...
Yeah, and then I was just going to ask you, is there anything that maybe stood out to you the last couple of years that maybe you missed about the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, you always miss football. I mean, you miss coaching, you miss the relationship with the players, you miss relationship with the coaches. I have... I probably need a little time off just because of some of the things that happened with my family, and that was important to me, to take some time to help the rest of my family in some of those situations too. So, but at the end of the day, it draws back in. My dad was a high school coach for 30-some years, and I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm excited to try to get where I can try to help players be better, and teams to be better, and groups to be better. That's what I try to do. I try to coach every position. I try to show them why it's important to them, and it gets me excited when I can see other players improve, and even if it's just a little bit, improve at one thing or improve at another thing, or how we can all get better together.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News.
Okay. Did you say that he can't? He hadn't talked to Micah yet, so he doesn't know. He doesn't want to tell us what he has planned for Micah until he talks to Micah. That's not a bad.
I love that. I love that because right now you don't. This is the one player who's kind of Micah's kind of in an odd spot right now with how people are perceiving him and media-wise, and he's just kind of getting a lot of criticism right now.
Yeah.
That is so smart right now for a defense coordinator, a new one, to get off on the bad foot and start talking about, hey, I'm going to use you like this. I'm going to use it. No. He's like, I've never met him yet. Let me talk. Let me get settled down. Let's see what me and Micah can talk about first before I go out and tell the whole world about how I'm going to use him. And right now, that's smart because Micah, he's yelling at fans right now on Twitter, as you saw. He's not in a good mood right now.
Well, maybe they can announce he can announce what Michael's going to be doing on his podcast.
Right.
He can be telling everything else on his podcast.
Hey, wasn't that Skip the next day? I can't wait to see Micah's next podcast. That's what he's good at.
Well, he did ask Jordan Love basically, hey man, how'd you kick our ass? I really want to know how'd you kick our ass? And Jordan Love
was like, why don't you look at the tape?
Yeah, like you weren't there. Like you weren't there.
Why you kick our ass?
What I love is the fact of the matter is they were on Radio Row. They got this big ass thing. They get CeeDee Lamb in there, and he's just chomping down on a steak and salad and all that, just scarfing and then trying to come up with a conversation. I was like, come on, be a little more professional, Micah and CeeDee. Let's go. You got to do better than that. But I am a little worried about Micah right now.
I think they went to Bleacher Report studio.
Yeah, that's who sponsors Micah's podcast. But
yeah, they went to Bleacher Report studio.
I'm worried about Micah Parsons right now. I really am because – listen, he is one of the greatest players right now in the NFL right now. There's no doubt about it. You can't stop it. But it's becoming.
Oh, you can stop it. Oh, you just wait till November and December.
Right. But that's the thing is that he's now becoming so, I don't know if he's buying into his own hype or something. There's a disconnect there. And now he's becoming a little, I didn't expect it, but he's kind of, in my opinion, becoming devious. And listen, I've covered him all year long this year. On the days I would go and cover at the Star, he wouldn't be there because he would be on the Wednesday, usually be on Thursdays. But then I would hear, Micah's going to come here today because he missed the day before. And I'm like, what's going on? Why? And, Dak, they don't like doing media, but they do it anyway. Micah would routinely, we would miss him. Or he would do it, he would delay it, at least something. I don't know what's going on with him. And I don't know if it's a thing where he hates the media or he doesn't trust us or I don't know. But there's something going on with Micah, and his play it's affecting what's going on. I don't know.
Well, I can speak to that, EA, because when he came in the Radio Row the other day, he kind of had this whole attitude like, I'm just going to speak to the people I had to speak to. Like, I ain't really speaking to nobody else.
But I don't understand. Like, what is he? Do you guys feel like he doesn't accept the criticism, or like?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't accept the criticism.
And what you're saying is true because there was another receiver here who started going off and started doing that, and they got rid of him. I'd advise Micah to ask. No, not him. Cole Beasley. Beasley. He started going off and doing the rap music and stuff like that, and the Cowboys don't really like stuff like that. They'll let you do it up to a certain extent. Once they feel it's starting to cut into their product and what's going on the field, then that's when they like, okay, we got to move on.
There's a difference between Micah Parsons and Cole Beasley, Walt.
I'm just saying, like, once he got in that rap stuff, they were like, yeah, we don't want to be a part of that. We don't like that.
Well, also because Cole Beasley sucks at rapping too. I mean, you could just.
That may be true, but once the Cowboys had their mind made up,
I don't know.
If they don't want to be associated with them, they like, we done. So you got a point there.
I've just noticed that there was a flip, and I don't know. Listen, I still think we need him on the team. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy. I just feel like he can't handle the criticism because once he has a bad game,
it's smart for him to start working on his post-career moves or whatever. But at the same time, like I said, the Cowboys they don't rock. The Cowboys don't rock like that. You know how tight knit. Hey, listen, how hard was it for you to get into the Star, even though you work for a radio organization? Like, They keep everything in house. They don't like anything being leaked and being told. And
They thought
behind the
I was
scenes
still a
with it.
50-50 salesman back then. He goes, "You're supposed to be at the stadium, sir." I was like, "You're a 50-50." I was like, "That was 3 years ago. I'm media now."
EA, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Okay, we just heard Mike Zimmer talk about what he wants. Will Michael is a two-part question. Will Michael be receptive if Mike Zimmer says, "Hey, I want you to play more linebacker, more than DN"?
I'm scared about that answer. I don't know what Micah's going to do. I don't know if maybe something is going to change. Maybe he might be receptive because it's the first year and they're getting to know each other. But mind you this, Dan Quinn and Mike Zimmer are very different in how they handle players. Mike Zimmer is like, "Motherfucker, go, you're a linebacker. Let's go." Dan Quinn was like, "Hey, my man."
You said it because he brought that up I think we're about to get to that point right here.
Yeah.
I thought there was a way he went in the lab and looked at a lot of different things. Did you do anything similar to what he did when he was away?
Oh, I did some of that. A lot of it I did a lot of reflection on what my time in Minnesota, the 8 years, the things that I felt like we did good, the things that I felt like I didn't do as good, trying to figure out, how I can be a better coach in the future. Obviously, there was always some tape watching and things like that. Marvin Lewis and I was a great friend. We did a podcast, and then afterwards we'd sit on there and we'd watch tape together and talk about players and talk about schemes and things like that. But a lot of it was reflection on what I did well and what I didn't do well.
Saudis, The Athletic. Mike, when you kind of look at the way I know you haven't been out that long, but when you look at just the way offenses evolve constantly in the NFL, whether it's the McVays and Shanahans and all that stuff, where have you kind of seen the NFL offenses go, and how do you kind of see your defense fitting?
Yeah, there's a lot of different kind of scheme things that you're starting to see a lot more of the receiver outside motion and with speed going up the field. You're seeing, obviously in the last few years there's been a lot of the jet sweeps and rocket motions and things like that. So I think that's been a lot of it. We've all talked about the different ways to handle it, and football is an evolving game, whether it's offense or defense, and so it all kind of comes back. The defense catches up, then the offense catches up, and it just kind of goes from there. So without being too specific, I know I'm not, but we'll have ways to combat these things.
Just curious about your thoughts on Al Harris and kind of, as you're putting the staff together, how he kind of fits in.
Yeah, I had a good visit with Al and the rest of the coaches here, and he's, it's up to. Obviously, Mike has made the decision that these guys are going to be here, and so we had a good conversation that that he's going to still be here with us, and I'm excited to work with him. And I've heard a lot of great things about the work that he does, and really all the guys here.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, you came up as a defensive backs position coach. What are your thoughts on coaching Deron Bland coming off a historic year and Trayvon Diggs coming off his ACL injury?
Yeah, well, I'm always excited to coach with good players and good defensive backs. It's kind of was my, as you said, my baby coming up. I love the technical aspect of that position. I know you guys that were here 18 years ago. When I was, you probably saw some of that stuff when I was here. But footwork, technique, hand placement, getting out of the break, shoulder level, all those things. And so, those two guys. Obviously, I've never worked with them, so I don't know. I've only seen them on tape. But hopefully, we can continue to get them better. I know, obviously, I've watched some of those guys on tape.
Yeah.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com.
Are we going to let Mike answer?
You're doing a hell of a job. Keep it up.
I'll leave you into this one, Mike.
Okay, let me ask you this. And we talked about this, Kendrick, with basketball. Can that type of coaching style work in today's NFL?
Yes and no.
Okay.
There's a limit there because, again, in today's NFL, in today's sports, you can't be a hard ass all the time because these players have so much power now with how much money they have, how much they direct, and ownership. Doesn't matter. We all blame Jerry for being Jerry GM and all that, and players go to him. I guarantee you that that's the situation in almost the other 31 NFL teams, because that's how players have that much power. They can go above their coaches now. It's the same in the NBA, even baseball sometimes. So you have to have a balancing act. That's the thing. In all life, you need balance. And I think the right coaches, the best coaches, have that balancing act. I don't know if Zimmer has found that yet. I know that every player, former player still, though, vouches for him. Marcus Spears vouches for him. Darren Woodson vouches for him. Bill Parcells vouches for him. They all say he's a great players coach. He will get in your head. But sometimes I think players, even today's players, maybe they might like that little kick in the butt every now and then. It's like a change.
These guys are sensitive.
No. I'm talking about like initially, like because it's a change of pace. Now I'm not. Eventually, it gets tiresome, so you can't do it all the time. But like, they get in your face, like what Jimmy Johnson did back in the day. Remember when he told like Emmett, you know why I yell at you? Because what Jimmy would do is he would yell at Emmett in public, but then he takes Emmett to the side and he says, you know why I had to do that? And Emmett's like, yeah, I understand, because he was trying to get the lower rung players to fall in line. I think if you do that same approach, that still can work. Again, though, you have to have balance. You can't just sit there and be like a hard ass 24/7 and just start yelling, blah, blah, blah. You have to have a mix of players coach plus hard ass. You can't be Wade Phillips on one end, and you can't be Bill Parcells on the other. You can't. You have to be in the middle with a little bit of both.
That's true, but can he do that?
Let me get to this point real quick right here by Zimmer real quick. Let me see. I think this is getting close to what we talk about here with Zimmer.
How are they different, the kids who come into the league now compared to back then?
I think, Brad, the biggest thing is the ones that want to be great, they want to be coached. They want to be coached. Now, there's a lot more social media. There's a lot more of the outside stuff going on. But, the ones that I've been around, the young guys, the ones that want to be great, they want to be coached. They want to study. They want to understand, how they can get better. And to me, that's what all the great players, they want to know, how can you make me better? And, so I think and y'all had Anthony Barr here. I love Anthony Barr. He was a little hurt when he, playing here, but, he was a young guy and he was terrific, great leader, studied, did all the things. And, so we had a lot of guys like that come in there. Now, I coached the Polynesian Bowl high school all-star game a couple weeks ago, and now those guys were dancing between plays, and they had the attention span of about 2 seconds. But I think great players want to be great.
Mike, which of your current players do you have the kind of relationship with that they could come up and hit you on the sideline like Kelsey did, and everything would be fine?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Brad. I mean, I don't know what.
Okay,
All right,
but did you hear that last part where he said great players want to be coached?
Right. And I agree. Great players do want to be coached. I don't buy into this, that it's a systematic why that every player, all the young players, all just want to do their own thing and don't care. There are great players that believe in the game. They want to get better because they know that if they play better, they're going to get more money. Second of all, they all kind of want to be the greatest. And that's what I like about Parsons, is that at least when he first came in here, I don't know if he's still about it, but when he first came in here, he goes, I want a Super Bowl. I want to be one of the greatest players of all time. I want to be in Canton. And so that's and I think the rest of the defense outside of Parsons, because Parsons is the one with the personality, I think the rest of the defense is coachable like that. Parsons, to me, is our only wild card that seems to kind of not seem to be, he goes his own way. He likes to beat to the.
But before you go, Kendrick, real quick, the difference between the Cowboys and any other team is, you can go complain about the coach to Jerry. Jerry ain't gonna be like, I'm about to fire the coach just because you don't like him here. Any organization, I'd be like, they might try to make a move, but Jerry Jones is the one person like, I ain't firing my coach because you don't like him. Y'all need to sit down and figure it out and get on
He
the
did
same
it
page,
once.
or you will be gone. Who?
He only did it once, Wade. And
Well,
remember,
no, Wade was losing though. I'm saying,
right,
yeah. A player can't go up to Jerry Jones and say, Jerry, I want this guy fired. He ain't such and such. Jerry Jones is the one GM be like, yeah, no, that's not what we're doing here. Okay, I have him in place for a reason. So you gonna have to get on the same page, or you gonna be gone.
And that gets to my point. Players want to be coached if they're winning. If you're a hard-nosed coach and you coach hard, that wears on your behind if you losing. Now, if this thing, I'm just pointing out, if they're 6-1 or 7-1 midway through the season, everything's fine. But if this team is like 3-5 or 2-6, then that hard coaching wears on a guy. When you started coaching hard, because he can go back and say, what you teaching me ain't successful. So maybe I need to go back doing my own thing.
And they do this. Turn it off.
Yeah, let's tune you out. So, like
We're
you said,
done.
EA, you have to have a balance. And what I'm concerned about Mike Zimmer, he's an old coach. Has he picked up some new things? Because he talked about it. The way, even being out the game for 3 years, it's like being out for 10. The league changes. Has he picked up? He still got his old ways, but he picked up some new ways to maintain with this new generation of players because it is different.
I like that he said that he coached a high school all-star game, and that's good because, again, you need to be around those high school kids because that's your future. That's the generation that's coming through the college ranks and all that, and you got to see how the kids are today. Like, honestly, I don't know how kids are today. I don't. I'm too out of it. I don't get it. And if I were down to go to a high school and try to hang out with them, I would. I don't even know what they're talking about half the time.
Check TikTok. You'll find out everything you know about.
I'm confused on TikTok too. I went on TikTok one time and I took it out. It's too much for EA. But that's the thing, though. You have to be open-minded enough to be like, let me see what the young kids are about. And he seems to be open. Again, this is an open press conference. He could be giving us both. Remember Mike McCarthy said, I lied to get the job. I mean,
he told you about that. He told you about that.
I'm just saying, we don't know. It's going to be August, and he could be just screaming at Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons throws his helmet at him. Like, it could all change like that.
Okay, check this question. I think this is probably hit the nail on the head right here. Check this out. From Doom.
Your coaching style, has it evolved at all over the years, or are you still the same guy you've been your entire career?
Well, I think these guys that have been here saw me 18 years ago. They've evolved. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sitting there. And I think I've evolved too, or otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here. But I'm demanding. I try to get the best out of the players. But to me, there's a difference. I had one player who was a terrific player, and you could not yell at him. You had to put your arm around him. You had to talk to him, whisper. He didn't like to be reprimanded in front of people. And so that's what I did with him, and he became a terrific player. Other players, I'd get after, and, probably know some of the names. One of them was here. But I'll say it to him, Pac-Man Jones, right? He gives me the biggest hugs now when I see him. But we've had our issues, going back and forth, and I think everybody's different. You try to hit the button, however it is to make them better.
There we go, right there. That's what we're looking for right there, right, EA?
I was scared. I'll be scared to make Pac-Man Jones angry.
Hey,
I know. I just seen Pac-Man in two.
EA, I know one guy.
Pac-Man ain't that much bigger than Kendrick.
EA, I know one guy.
Yeah, but he's packing.
EA, I know one guy on this team right now that I don't know which way he gonna go with that, because it's gonna go one way. He going to either put it or he going to wring his neck. That's Sam Williams. Sam Williams. I don't know how this gonna go.
No, Sam Williams is coachable. He's just stupid.
What does that mean?
we got some remarks coming in here. Okay. Dan Quinn is a good defensive coordinator, but his defense has historically been known to fail. Remember his Falcons with the big-ass lead in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. My boy Mike Zimmer will actually use Micah in the middle and allow him to create mismatches on his own. Zimmer isn't going to be their friend like DQ was. Zimmer will light a fire under these guys and challenge them to be greater.
I hope.
Yeah, we'll see about that because, like I said,
Zimmer won't be these guys' friend like DQ was. This is what these young guys need.
And I keep
especially
saying,
Micah, he's still immature and will grow this year.
And I keep saying that only works if the plan is successful. If you're winning, if they're losing, turn that thing off completely.
I will say
be real, guys. The players nowadays are softer. I think this is why we hired Zimmer instead of Big Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan would just get in their feet.
Yeah.
Just like, can I see those feet, baby? That's all he's about. No, here's my thing. I'm not saying that Zimmer is going to be. I don't know if he's going to be the all-in. I think he's the best hire. I know a lot of people are on the other side of it, and they're saying they're very upset with his room. It's a retread hire. I know Tovas was pretty upset about it. My thing is on contention against those guys is that Zimmer has been a known quality product, but I think in a way you need a retread, a license. You need something. It's different for them. It may be retread for us as fans, but for these players, it's new. So that's why I'm okay with it. But again, this could fail. This could drastically fail in our eyes because guess what? That's the Cowboys way. It's either one way or the other way. It's not in the middle. We're not going to have a normal thing. No, we're going to have a great season or we're going to have an epic end to it. And you know what? I kind of like that. I want that.
Yeah,
either Super Bowl.
I did. Hold on. I did say that. I said this gonna go one of two ways. Either they're gonna make the Super Bowl, they're going 7-10, and everybody's gone.
Bring it, because guess what? What did you say, Walt? Controversy creates cash. Let's do it.
It does. It creates.
And I'm for. Listen, I'm more media now than fan, so I'm all for the.
Yes, you're still a fan. Stop it.
Yeah, but the fan in me is very quiet these days. He's in there.
Well, he wasn't quiet that much.